Hey, how you guys doing? I have a live debate scheduled with a person named Sarky. We were having a conversation on my YouTube about a video that I posted. It is like the most recent video about our men out here loving women. And it had a lot of men that I saw on a thread where they had spoken about, their dedication, their love that they have for their wives and their girlfriends. And there were some women that gave me some pushback on the men that had expressed in a lot of different ways how much they loved their wives and their girlfriends. So I was here to discuss that because I didn't realize that I would get any pushback on that because, generally my content is about, warning women and talking about the things that affect women. I made one video to inject some positivity in there so that everything that I was speaking on wouldn't be, constantly perceived as just me only feeding negativity to black women about relationships or whatever. Because that, like Coco Cream said, there are a lot of wives complaining about their husbands, but there are also a lot of wives not complaining about their husbands. There are a lot of women that say that they are happily married and that they're being treated well. So it's like I didn't want to just constantly talk about the women that are complaining, because there are women that are not complaining. There are women that are happy. So if I keep, saying that, there are no women that are speaking about positivity, then it makes it seem like I'm, putting forth an uneven dynamic. And I prefer for my content to be well rounded, reasonable. And, I don't want to push for something that I'm not living. And because it just makes me feel like I don't want y'all to feel like I'm grifting y'all. So anyway, I'm waiting for this person to come in the live so that we can have the debate, and then hopefully I can get them in here and then we can, go ahead and have the discussion and I can hear their perspective, and hopefully, we can come to an agreement. So once again, I'm having a debate with a person named Sarky, and I'm waiting for that person to join the live so that we can have a debate about this. Yeah. And if anybody doesn't know me or you haven't seen the video, I made a video on my YouTube, and all you have to do is click on my page. The link is in my bio to my YouTube. I think it's my second most recent video. It's titled "Are Men Out Here Loving Women?" And that's just where I delve deep into. I don't know if you guys saw, like, it's kind of a semi-viral TikTok of a black guy. He's sitting in a chair. He's got a gaming headset on, and he says, "Fellas, tell me about her." And it's filled with men, and it's of men of all races, talking about how they love their girls, they love their wives, why they love them, etc., etc., etc. And I posted a lot of the comments that I saw from guys in there to just, inject some positivity that there are men out there that do care about women, that love the women that they're with or speak highly of them. And it was a big thing about me saying that basically, there's no way to trust these men, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and just not willing to see any positivity within that, which I thought was strange. Just like there's a woman here that just commented, her name is Halima. She says, "Yes, men are loving their wives. I am married 19 years. Halima, can I ask you a question? You said that you are married for 19 years and that men are loving their wives. Are you happily married, Halima? And if you don't mind me asking you too many questions here, are you happily married, and are you enduring any type of abuse or mistreatment, or do you feel treated as less than by your husband? If you could please let me know and drop that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it, because for the life of me, I try to tell people that there are women that are happily married and that are being treated properly by their husbands. And I've also included myself, who's been married 15 years. And people seem to think that that is not true frequently. And I find it to be very strange. Thank you for that, Halima. Just for people that when I upload this to YouTube, Halima commented that she is not being abused. Are you being treated fairly, Halima? Please let me know. Do you feel loved by your husband? Do you feel like you're being treated fairly? Okay. All right. Yes. Halima says, my life is very comfortable. I am the wife of a Wu-Tang Clan member. Thank you for that, Halima. So there you have it. There's just one woman that has said something in the chat about that. And I just gave my own experience as well. And it's like, I don't even want to position myself as if I'm defending men, because I don't need to. I just feel like I want to defend women or married women, that you don't automatically think when a woman is married that she's somewhere undergoing a horrible experience, because I ain't stupid and I don't let nobody play in my face. And I would never. When I say what I say, I mean what I say. So it's just like there are some women that are being respected. Anyway, I think that is probably what offends me, or why I take a personal offense to it, because I feel like when you say that there are no married women that are happy, or no married women that aren't getting cheated on, or they're too stupid to know their husbands and what they really are doing, I take offense to it, because I feel like it's not even that I feel like you're calling me stupid and like I don't know no better. And that's not true. And those thoughts that you have, that you want to push that reality on everyone else, comes from a place of trauma. It's just that simple. And that is exactly what it is, essentially. But like I said, I'm waiting for this person to join the live. And, and hopefully they'll come and we can have a conversation. Because like I said, I do find it to be ultimately strange that, you want to, just like user 2683 said, you want people to only preach doom and gloom. And even people that may be perceived to be happy, instead of just saying, hey, those people are probably happy, you want to push negativity on them and say, oh, no, they can't be happy. If you don't realize that that is a sign that you need some therapy, I don't know what to tell you. That you have trauma that you need to work through. And we all have trauma and we all have things that we need to work through. But that is not healthy. It's really not. Okay, you said you've been asking me for a request. Okay, Sarky, you're not able to request here. There's there's nothing there. Did you just start this account today? Because sometimes TikTok requires you to have a certain amount of followers, or some people can have no followers and get up here, but you don't have a request button. At least for me, it doesn't have an option for me to choose you, to add you up here. So maybe since you just started today, we may have to do something different, and we may have to just talk through the chat, and I will read your comments, and then I can go, we can talk that way, because it doesn't seem like you'll be able to come up here. No, you can't go on YouTube, because there's no way for me to allow you to speak there either. Because if I go just straight to YouTube, the only person that will be able to talk is me. Because I don't have the StreamYard thing. It doesn't allow you to stream from TikTok to YouTube. Right now, at least it's not allowing me to do it when I've tried. So yes, maybe you can tell me your perspective and why you just don't believe that, anyone can be happy, or why you automatically jump to the negativity, and why you think that wouldn't be unhealthy. Yes. And we can go off stats as well, Ariane. There are plenty of stats that, can prove my point. And that when people say these things about marriage and how like all women are just, unhappy and it's every last one, we definitely can talk about that, and we can use stats. Vez the Slayer says men despise women in America. Do you think that's every man, Vez the Slayer? Or, and I'll send you a request since you can actually come up. Let me know. Cause you said don't do this to me, sis. I would love to know what you mean by that. And do you think all men despise women here in America? I sent you a request. I would love to know that. If you could answer that question. Sarky, I'm waiting for you. If you can just go ahead and just type out what you were gonna say. Yeah. And Ariane, let me know exactly what you
Hello.
mean. You said from the fake. I'm not quite for sure what you mean.
Hello.
Yes, Vez the Slayer, go ahead.
I would say it's probably like 70% of men.
Oh, you're a man. Okay. Uh yeah. I really, I'm really trying to talk to women about this because it's really about what women think about men. Because if you're not dating men and stuff like that, how would you know how they feel romantically? And
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
but thank you for coming up. I thought that you were a woman. If you were a woman, I would have had no problem talking. Yeah, Sarky, that would be great if you could use your friend's account. Just let me know in the comments what your friend's account is, and I'll definitely add you up. That way we can get started. And I'm sure more people will come back in once they realize that you're here. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, and I'm waiting. But yeah, I just didn't want to talk about talk to a man about it cuz I just felt like that's not what we're doing. This what we're thinking, it would have to be the thoughts of women specifically. Not that I don't mind having men on here sometimes to give their perspective if it is actually beneficial to the conversation, even though there are some women that don't do that. And some women don't do it, period. Oh, okay. Let's see. Ariane, you said it's hard to explain, like find people who have a similar interest in you that want the same thing. I mean, I think that's difficult to find people. I think it's difficult to find a person that you have everything in common with anyway, that you match with. I even think it's difficult to find friends like that as well. You know? And so I think it's difficult to find people in your individual life that reflect your morals and values, or whatever your personal individual morals and values are, because they all vary by each of us. But anyway, you guys, I'm so sorry that we're having a little bit of a snafu here with Sarky, but she says she's coming back with her friend's profile. So hopefully she'll be here back momentarily, and then we can go ahead and get started. Yeah. So that'll be real good. And let's see here. Yanni Daly, you said you believe it's possible, but vetting properly and making sure they actually love you is needed. I definitely agree with you for sure. Absolutely. Let's see here. I think there was someone else that was up here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just waiting, y'all, to see if just to make sure she's coming back, and then we can go ahead, like I said, and get started with the conversation. Because even if it's not that many people, it was a lot of people in the live at first. I think it was like 80, but they kind of left after, I guess they probably saw that what was going on was not here yet, like the debate wasn't happening yet. So hopefully, if she gets the other account, we can do that, and then we can get started, and hopefully we can get other people there. But even if not, it's still all good, because I'll upload this to YouTube, and everybody can see it after the fact. More people will see it then, because at least 1,000 people to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 see my live streams after they're uploaded to YouTube. I think my highest one for this month was the Jamie Foxx live stream that I had. That's at I think 6,000, 6K views right now. But yeah, Ariane, you can join right now until the young lady joins that I'm supposed to have the conversation with. And then you just have to mute up until, she you know what I'm saying, until she's finished. But yeah, you definitely could if you would like. I'm just waiting for her. So hopefully she'll let me know, when she's coming. I'm just waiting. I did start promptly at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as requested. So I just want y'all to know that I'm like very punctual. I'm a very punctual person. Like almost like it's so serious to me being on time for stuff. Oh. So yeah. So I was here. So we just waiting. It's just that she wasn't able to get up with her account because it was just started today. So there was no way for them to come up. So I did send you a request, Ariane, if you want to come up. And if you don't want to, you don't have to either. You guys will just have to wait until like unfortunately it'll just be kind of like just waiting. All right, okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. Hopefully, she's coming, you know, and we'll see. I'll give it like another 13 minutes to 7:30. Well, excuse me, that's my time. Till 8:30. And then if not, then I will just end this live because the only reason why I did this live was because that this is the time that she requested. So yeah, I just yeah. But and then maybe in order so that the live stream isn't completely a dud, maybe I will add some people up and they can talk about what they think. And then that way at least the live won't be a waste. People, it'll be uploaded because people will probably wonder like, well, you said you were going live, like what happened? You said you were going to upload it to YouTube because it's a lot of people that follow me on YouTube that they don't have TikTok. So Jess Smith, you said what happened to the commenter? She said that because she couldn't come up, she was gonna come up underneath her friend's profile. She said that she'd be right back. It's been a few minutes now. So hopefully, she's getting the login information and everything, and she can come in on the other her friend's account that she said. So I'm kind of giving it until about 8:30, to see if she's coming. And then we can have the discussion at that point. Because I told her that she could just type the stuff, I guess, since she wasn't able to come up. But I think that she preferred to, come up in the box, which makes sense because TikTok, has the character limit. So yeah, I'm waiting. So you guys, I just want y'all to know I did start promptly a little bit before 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did. Yeah. So sorry it's boring right now and that there's nothing going on. Like I said, if anybody wanted to talk about these points until she gets back, if she does get back, y'all can. Y'all can send me a request, but y'all would just have to mute up when, she comes on so that she can speak. But if not, if y'all don't want to, that's fine too. I'm so sorry that because it's like I don't necessarily want to just start speaking about the stuff, but like I think because I've already said it, so the people that probably are still here are probably people that already know why it's here for real. Like I said, this is just in response to the video that I had made a couple days ago about men out here, are men out here loving women. It was just in response to the like the little TikTok video of the black man. He was in the gaming chair and stuff, and he had said, fellas, tell me about her. And then it was just a whole thread filled of men, commenting on their wives and their girlfriends and how much they love them and how much they meant to them and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when I saw that, I thought it was nice. I think that oftentimes, we are always talking about, okay, I got you. Here we go. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, what's your name? How do
Triggered.
what do I call you?
Yeah, you can call me Triggered.
Trigger. Okay, hi, Trigger.
Hey, all right. Well, I'll let you go ahead and talk first if you like, because I said I'd let you speak uninterrupted.
Okay, so what would you like for me to start with?
I guess probably I'll say this. Your comments, they rub me the wrong way. Like oftentimes, when I get the chance to look through the comments, because if I click on people's names, it'll let me see like if they're like a regular commenter or if they've made like several comments. And I noticed like one of your comments, was kind of like negative about the video. I was like, okay, whatever, because I didn't think that it would totally be met with positivity, because I know that there are a lot of women, which is understandable, that have issues with men or don't trust men or think that basically any man should be side-eyed, which I completely can understand that perspective. I really can. But I noticed that you had made other comments to other people too, in almost a way to get them to rethink them thinking positively about it, that it just had to be negative. And I think that's when I had responded to you, and then you had responded to me with some points that you had said, like, oh, well, you don't know your husband now and all of these things, because at first you said that your first husband was a good man, or you thought that, which I don't know if I said it in the response to you. I might have, or I'm not for sure if I did, but no, I never thought my first husband was a good man, ever, not at all. So I didn't. And so that was a part that you were grossly wrong on. And really everything else that you said also was wrong. And I just thought that it was strange for you to say that, basically all men are, or not even all men, because I don't really care, your perspective on men, because I'm not here to defend men. I just take offense when you people act like women don't have the intelligence to judge or find out if someone's a good character. Like they can't possibly know that. So when you were saying that, I said that you thinking that way is rooted in trauma, and then you told me that you haven't personally been, traumatized by any men, but your family and people that have, which in my opinion also was illogical, because if you haven't had any negative experiences with men, or you haven't been traumatized with men, I feel like you were going hard for something that hasn't even been your experience, which is also strange, you know? So we could talk about that.
Okay, where should I start? I'd like to correct. I never called anybody stupid. You're like we think women are stupid and never use the word stupid on there. I want to
I mean,
clarify.
it's just insinuated.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So when I said I wasn't traumatized, I consider the word traumatized extreme. Like maybe a woman who's been abused. Like, can we say abused on TikTok?
Yeah, yeah, you can.
Because I know certain words you can't say sex abuse. Okay, women who've been like um, physically abused, I consider that traumatized. Things that to me are not the extreme, like hitting, like like those stories we hear and it's really, really extreme and never happened to you. That's what I meant by I haven't really been traumatized, but I have had experiences, like bad experiences myself. But I wouldn't consider comparing myself to other women. I think other women, from some of the stories I've heard, I think I was one of the lucky ones, to be honest. Because I thought mine was bad, but hearing other women, I thought, no, that's what. And before I start, I talked about what happened on the YouTube with personal friends of mine. and I wanted their opinion of it before I start with whatever I have to say. And there was something one of my friends said. She said, no, he was actually a he. And he was like, you as in Triggered, were trying to share a happy experience with your partner. And he said, you may perceive what I said as extremely harsh and underestimating your judgment. So I'm kind of glad, that's the word, I wrote it down, that's why I'm reading it. So, okay. My point was not about women not being smart enough to pick on red flags, or women not being smart enough to know if your man is whatever. My point from the beginning of the video was on, you can only judge what you have seen. We do not go 24 hours a day around our partners. There are certain things, and that's why I mentioned certain people in my family, and I talk, add this, I talk a lot to random people a lot because of my sociology. I can meet you, it's possible maybe I've even met you and talked before, and I meet random people all the time. I want to know if they've heard of Red Pill. I want to know if they've heard of The Rise in Lonely Man. I want to know the difference between what's going on social media and what's going on in real life. So even outside of my family and my circle, I do talk to random strangers that I'm never going to see again. And so all these things together, just like how Burb and Bougie will get something off of Reddit, I do real life. Like, I want to know, is this just something on Reddit? Is this just something on YouTube? Is this really real? So when you first started the video, you said nothing was an absolute. I think I even agreed with you. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's literally impossible for every guy in the world to be bad. Even not all dogs bark, or not all dogs wag their tail. There's probably some dogs somewhere, we never met, who don't bark or wag his tail. And not all women are victims, or not all women are good people just wanting good relationships. I didn't say that part, but I said I agreed with you with the nothing is an absolute. Then I also mentioned something about I wish I could have gotten the women's perspective, and then you said even if you had put the women's perspective, that would have also been a problem, which I did. I do agree with that as well. That a lot of times we women, we like to look at things on the brighter side. There are women who are literally being abused and they still think, hey, he's a good guy. So sometimes we're always trying to look at the positives and stuff. So I agree that, hey, that if you would, even if you would have brought the female version, yeah. And then the guy version of what you brought, I think what you said was true, but the comments that was being used as evidence of the truth of what you were saying was what I initially was like. And I think another person said something like that to what I said. Like, these guys could be happy because they've gotten their wives slaves who are cooking and cleaning and busting it wide open for them, and they still have their side chick and they happy. With men, they could they could, you'd be surprised what they will be happy with. So I was like, I don't know if these men's testimonies like of just in the comment sections, I don't know, because that woman can be having a hard time but he's happy. As the statistics say, divorces are usually initiated by women because they can't handle it anymore. They're cooking, cleaning, doing everything by themselves, and the man is just coasting with his legs crossed. His
Okay.
food is ready and blah blah
I
blah.
I want to interject there.
Okay.
The comments were not meant to say that I knew these men for sure or knew how they truly deeply felt about their women or what goes on behind the scenes, because at the end of the day, no one knows what goes on in a relationship or in a marriage or in a partnering other than the two people that are involved. The only thing that I was showing is that I hear constantly women talk about the fact that men don't speak about women positively at all. Men don't say anything nice about women. Men don't seem to care about their partners in the slightest. So when I saw those comments, I was like, wow, there's an opportunity of some men that at least I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. I don't know what type of men they are for real. I don't know if they have side chicks or they're They're knocking their women's teeth out behind the scenes. All I can say is from what I can see, these men decided to say something positive and uplifting about their women in the space where they didn't have to say nothing. They could have kept scrolling. It's not like they got any money for saying it or anything like that. There was no motivation or anything to say it. So that's the only thing that I was saying. And then automatically that was met with suspicion, which I don't even have a problem with it being met with suspicion. If that's how people feel about it, hey, we can't trust these dudes, that is completely fine. The only issue that I had with it is that I didn't understand why. Me saying I don't understand why isn't looked at as responding that way is a trauma response. It is. It is because you distrust men. And I don't even, like I said, that I can understand. There are a lot of men out here that act in a bad way. The only problem that I had in the whole interchange of the things that you said is that, like you said in the comments, like I don't know my husband. There's no way to know him.
Okay, I didn't say
People. You did say
that
that. You did. You said
that
that
you
people
don't know
go
your
there.
husband.
They
No.
go.
Okay.
You said they go. People go to. I have it in my phone. I can read it verbatim to
Okay.
you. But
I,
what
I
you said,
wasn't done, but I wanted to hear your response for the first part. That's why I was quiet. But okay.
but essentially what you said is that I don't know him, and that there have been things exposed about people's husbands after they passed away, and all of these things, and that could be the case for some people, but it's not the case for me. I know him completely, and I know what's going on, and I know what's not going on, and my discernment is very high, and it is very much on point. And my and that to me is offensive for you because you have whatever notions that you have about men, or your associations with men, or you not ever having any type of contact with any men that have any type of decent character, that now you want to put on me that I don't know who I'm laying up with every day, that I don't know the character of that person, and that I can never know. That to me was offensive because you can't put your trauma and your experiences onto me. That is where there's a problem. You can't put, it's just like me putting on, if you think one way about something or another way about this, and I put on my personal experiences on how you are supposed to live your life, or how you're supposed to perceive what's going on with you. You know what I mean? Like if I say, hey, how that, you say, hey, my dad is a great dad. My dad treated me right or well, and I'm not saying that I know what your father said. I'm just giving it as an example. And then I tell you, hey, well, I had these bad experiences with my dad, and my girls, we've had bad experiences with our dad, so we know your dad ain't no good. Even if you don't know, even if he's probably behind the scenes doing this to girls and that to girls, you don't know your daddy. I feel like that is, I'm not that I feel like, I'm gonna take that out. That is offensive to tell someone.
Okay, so I think I said I spoke to my friend before calling you, and I apologize on the first post.
Oh, I
So
didn't
I'm
see
gonna
it.
apologize again for offending you, Triggered. My intent was not to offend you. Um, Putting men aside, in general, there's something I always tell people that, because I'm a Christian, and I think there are a couple of times I've heard you mentioning God. That was why I felt comfortable using words like spirit of discernment and blah, 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 because not everybody believes in God. I tell people, in general, no one knows the true heart of a person but his creator. And our human senses, the five, seeing, touching, smelling, whatever, is limited to only what we are exposed to using our senses to feel. This I'm putting, first of all, I'm not talking about your husband right now. I'm just generally speaking, right? And that sometimes, whether it's our brothers, sister, even me, I was telling my friend, there are certain things I have done that if you told my mom that I did it, she would say you were lying. My mom, who's known me from birth, and we're close, and I talk to her. We, at the end of the day, we are our own individuals. We don't always 100% share everything with even our spouses or our parents. And I think that's when I made an example of serial killers. Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, when his son was caught and he was being interviewed, did you ever see anything that could make you believe he could do this? No.
Absolutely.
No, he said
Absolutely.
no. He said he saw chicken bones, but he didn't think it would lead to. He said he used to collect chicken bones, and he told him to stop. But he never. There are videos. You could go watch the videos. He said he didn't know. And the killer clown, William H. Gacy or whatever. His sister was on the Oprah show saying, "Oh, I was shot. I still don't believe you did it." So I feel like I'm not talking about your judgment triggered. It's not about your judgment. It's the fact that sometimes our loved ones, even my loved one, whoever's loved ones, we can't 100% vouch for another person that is not us. We can
But I'm just
only.
saying, you don't think that it's unhinged to take a video of men speaking positive and then put all this negativity on it? You don't think that it would just be
Oh,
okay just to say,
okay,
hey,
okay,
I
okay.
don't know
Wait,
these guys,
triggered,
and take it for what it is, instead of just
triggered,
being
triggered.
all on the post saying,
Hold on,
hey,
hold on,
no,
hold
no, these all
on.
men, they gotta be so bad, they gotta be beating on their wives, they gotta have side chicks, they gotta do that. You don't
No, that's
you
not
don't
what I
think
said. You
that's
know, you're
weird?
exaggerating. That's what I said.
I'm
Triggered.
not
Wait,
exaggerating. That's
I never
exactly
said
what you
all
did. It's
men.
not.
They're all having side. Trigger. There's no statement that says all men. They're all having side. I
No,
never
I'm
tried to.
saying you said the men that made the comments. We don't know the men. They could be doing this. They could be
Yeah, yeah,
doing
yeah,
that. They
yeah.
could. You don't think it's a little unhinged to do that? You don't think that's weird? You wouldn't be offended if somebody had a video where people were black women were doing something positive, and then all of a sudden black men came and blast down on it and said, we don't know none of these 304s. They could be doing this, that, and the third. You wouldn't think that was weird if they did that?
Well, black men love it when black women praise them, so they're not gonna do that. But
Okay,
all
what
right,
I'm
but let,
saying
let me
is
just say
that,
this.
do you
I
think
think
that that's a bit unhinged? I mean, that's a legitimate question to ask. You don't think that responding like that to something nice is just like if someone showed you puppies running around together on the field, and you started talking to them about, hey, these puppies are gonna die one day, or what if they get hit by a car? You don't think that people would think like, that's a little weird. If something's positive, why find some way to inject negativity in it instead of just taking it for what it is? You don't think that's weird? You don't think that that speaks to something that's unhealed that needs to be healed? Though you think that's a normal response to something that's positive?
if listen, triggered. If you hadn't put those comments there and you had just made a video like, oh, remember there's still good guys out there, da 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 da. Probably no. I mean, because what you're saying is a fact. It's literally impossible for people not to be in healthy relationships. But when you're using people you don't like in the comment section, and we
I
all
don't
know you
know
don't.
anyone.
Wait,
There's
wait, wait, wait.
nobody that I could
We're
have used
we're in
that
an
would have I would have
era.
known.
We're
There's
in an
nobody.
era of this whole men, women. Women are starting to understand why men do what they do. I think yesterday YV Edit was talking about the history of marriage. It wasn't initially based on romance. We these are a group of people. Let me say this: men in
But
general,
let me. I'm sorry. I got to
men in
interject one more
general,
time.
right?
You just said that we don't know anybody. You just said that there are things that you're capable of doing or that you've done that your mother would think that you would
Right,
never do.
and
That
not
you would
just me. Everybody has done something for their mom, papa.
I haven't. So I
Okay.
haven't. So I can't even say that. So I'll just say this is that if you believe that, then there's no way I could have made a video, whether I put in the comments or whether I didn't, in any way that you would have taken anything that I said for face value. But that is really, I would really
No, you
like you to
can't say
answer my
that.
question is that you think that that is normal behavior? Do you think that that is behavior of somebody that is healed and is not living in a state of trauma, that they would automatically jump to negativity on a post that is meant to be positive? There was nothing negative about that video. Do you think that that is normal behavior and healthy behavior?
If I believe that the information that those guys were commenting could not completely be genuine, the comment was on those comments, not so much about you saying, oh, healthy relationships do exist. It's I don't You don't need a scientist to admit to know that yes, it's possible. Everything that there's good, there's the bad of it.
Those
So
men could be positive. You don't know if they are or not.
we
So
both
why
don't
do
know.
you
That's the
just
thing.
automatically
We
jump to the
both
fact
don't
that
know.
they are not?
So, in as
Is
much
what
as we're
I'm
using
saying.
it for a positive side, I was also bringing the other side, and it wasn't just me. There are other people on your post saying stuff like, "Man, I don't know. They could be doing this," and
Yes, and
there
I
were
told
other
all of
people, so it
those
wasn't just
women
me.
that they were working from a place of trauma. I told them that as well.
I'm not working
A
with that.
couple of women, I think they were aware of that. One woman said, "I know that it might be me, that I'm just jaded." Another woman said, "Yes, I'm traumatized, so I don't know if I believe this." I think most of the women
Oh
that
no, no,
left
no!
those
I
comments
don't think
were
I'm
very aware.
traumatized.
I mean, I can definitely go back and screenshot them and put them on this green screen if you like. I have no problem doing it because they're definitely there. I just, like I said, I think what's good is that for some women to understand when they make the comments that you make or they say the things that you say, that is coming from a place that is not good. And it's coming from a place that you need to address. And it's not so that you can get a man or anything like that, because who cares? Who cares? Life isn't about that. There are plenty of people that are happy being alone and all of that. I'm not here to push relationships or men on anybody. I could care less. But just for your own self, for your own mental health, it's not good to think like this. It's really not. And it's not good to respond like this, because there's in no way is it healthy to respond to positivity with negativity and suspicion. It is not. It's not healthy, period. In any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's not. And it's unusual. And like I said, I don't know. It's just so strange. And there's no possible way that, and you know what, when we look at things, oftentimes the behavior of men, the behavior of women, relationships, a lot of things are not necessarily quantifiable, because a lot of people may be going through something behind closed doors and you'll never know. But the only thing we can do is look at what we can say. And I took the time to research a lot of different things today in preparation of our discussion. And I was looking up, like, what's the percentage of women when they take these like little studies and things like that, of women that say that they are truly happily married and fulfilled. And I will say that it said that 40% of women that are married say that they are truly happy and truly fulfilled. Now, that is not, in my opinion, a great percentage. 40% is less than 50. So it's less than half of the women are saying that. So that means 60% of women are not that happy, according to certain studies that have been taken. Of course, these are little sample size populations and things of that nature. So I don't know if we can necessarily use it to take a full picture. But 40% still is a lot. You get what I'm saying? And when you look at the percentages of marriages that do last forever, not saying that we necessarily know if those marriages are all happy. If you look at that, the percentage that I just told you, the 60-40 split. So out of the 60% of people roughly that stay married, depending on where you look, the 60 to 59 to 58% of people that remain married, out of that percentage of people, 40% seem to be happy. Those numbers aren't great, but those numbers are enough to where, if you see things like what I posted, responding with suspicion is kind of unhinged, is what I'm trying to get to, because I always like to look at things in the best way that we can, as far as logical, rational, without emotion in it, because that's the best way to get the clear picture, especially on hot button topics like this. And like I said, for anybody watching, I'm not here to sell marriage to nobody, relationships to nobody, men to nobody, because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't. I don't care if you get married, you don't, you have kids, you don't. I don't care. All I want at the end of the day, and I've already said this, that I have no agenda. My only agenda is that Black women be happy, authentically happy, truly happy. And you cannot be happy if you're living in a state of trauma or brokenness. Period. You cannot. Like, if I was to allow my first marriage to define my life and to say, hey, you know what? These Negroes ain't no good. None of them. They're never gonna be no good. They nothing. And allow myself to be in a perpetual state of rage, even if I didn't ever get with anyone else. That's not a healthy way to live, and that's not a state of living that you can uh consistently live in without causing harm to yourself, not only on the mental and emotional level, but also physically. And then, even if you want to break it down to having a man, if you did think that maybe deep down inside you wanted to try it again, you wouldn't even be in a space to, because whatever man that may be sent to you that may be your blessing, or maybe somebody that will really bring joy to your life, you're not going to be in a spot to receive it because you're not going to be in a position of healing. So like I said, I think that these things, and I see it a lot sometimes on my channel, it needs to be worked on. Period. And I don't, it's like sometimes I feel like, what type of environment am I fostering? But that's the reason why I wanted to inject positivity on the channel every now and again, so that people don't necessarily just hear bad, 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 bad. Because anybody that wants to stoke bad in you 24/7 does not have your best interest at heart. But I'll let you go ahead and speak too, because I don't want to be just the one dominated. You can go ahead.
Um. Okay. First of all, I'm. I do not think I'm traumatized. I think I told you. I'm glad you brought up statistics. I also deal with statistics, um, and I did psychology, sociology, both of that. Okay, my problem with when like men, for example, I'm gonna use my experience because I think when I even talked about not really being traumatized, you're like, how could I speak if I've never experienced it? I do know sometimes, and a lot of times, they have a front they can put up. This includes other people's husbands that I have met before, I know before, where it's like, oh, I love my wife. Oh, she's the best. I made a comment about how every woman says, "Not my man." Oh no, my man would. And there's this YouTuber who always makes a joke, it's like, "Oh, whenever you say my man wouldn't, that's when he start wouldn't," and we laugh about it and everything,
Oh
right?
yeah, that's exactly what you said too.
Right,
That
right, right.
also, yeah, you said
So,
that. You said that.
okay, so, right. Now, let me use the statistics of men leaving their wives when they get cancer. I think even Ver and Bougie have spoken about it a number of times. These are women who thought they were in loving relationships for men who loved them, and the men said similar. Now, a case comes where the women get cancer, and they said men are generally 6 times more likely to leave a woman, his wife, when she gets cancer, and then women is it's very low. And even women, when a man goes to a coma, she could still be married to him like 20 years, coming to visit him and whatever, whatever. I have even gone to realize that sometimes men's understanding of what love is
Okay,
even
I
different
wanted to
from.
interject there. I'm sorry, I had to, because you mentioned the statistics. I just want you to know that the statistic is that 20% of men leave their wives when they are sick or terminally ill. 20%, which leaves 80% of men that do not. That is 8 out of 10 men stay and 2 out of 10 men leave. So to give you perspective, you got a group of 10 men and only two do that. That you would still have a big, large group. So I just wanted to say that, because yeah, that needed to be said. Oh, and just real quick, I just want to ask you, you're a black woman, right, Sarky? I thought that you were. Are you? You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I went on Google. Why don't I sound like a black woman?
I mean, I thought that you did, but people in the comments didn't think so. So I just wanted to ask. But I thought that you were.
Yeah, it's just what you said that I went off of TikTok to look, but I could hear you, so I thought I could talk to you and search on Google on my
Oh
phone.
yeah, because I looked it up too
But
while you were speaking, because I knew I remembered the stats, but I couldn't for the life
but
of me think
you're
about it. Yeah.
this is like the second a couple of times people have said I sound like a Karen. I don't know whether, but
I
they're
don't
like,
think I thought that you sounded black. Period. I don't, because I'm
oh,
not one of those people
okay.
that think that if you speak with more of a proper cadence, that means that you're not black. I totally thought that you were black, but
Right,
I just wanted
right.
to I just wanted to ask because it was somebody that asked in the chat. That's all. But you can go
Yeah.
ahead.
And that person in the comments who was like the vocabulary, I was flipping the words on purpose because I noticed these days when you have comments like men, women, sometimes YouTube, like, I don't know how to explain it. When other people come post after me and I go back to the comment section, I can't see my post. So I started using exclamation mark instead of I, like to turn it upside down. And when I want to say men, I'll rather flip it and be like NEM. So I was misspelling those on purpose just so YouTube would not flag the comment. So it wasn't like I'm a dumb person who doesn't know how to put sentences together. But yeah. Um yeah, so to the extent, well, I don't know about the 20% because I tried to go to Google, wouldn't let me. But to the extent that nurses have come out to say, as part of their therapy session for women with cancer, they have to include to the women that, hey, this is a popular thing that goes on, that a lot of women, when they get cancer, their husbands leave. So in case he leaves, don't let it surprise you or make you depressed, because we wouldn't want you in that state while we're trying to get you chemotherapy and those kind of stuff, right? So I came to realize with them, their love is like, or from what the statistics that I try to understand. When I see a statistic, I try to read into it, like, what will make them have this behavior, or what goes on in their minds to make them arrive at this behavior. And I realized their love is tied to, especially what's between our legs. When you're having cancer and you can't do the thing, and you can't cook, and you can't do the things that's why they married you for, I don't know if it puts them off. I've even had one guy personally tell me his girlfriend got cancer and he couldn't stand looking at her, how skinny she looked. And I was like, your girlfriend got cancer, all you're caring about her looks? So I started thinking, oh, maybe to them, this is how they think. I'm trying to understand their psychology, right? So I always say, like, those women would have never in a million years think that they were gonna get cancer and the man was gonna leave. They thought they were in good relationship. That's what I meant by, it's not about intelligence. You can never intelligently predict a scenario that has never occurred before. There are some things, it's when life takes you by surprise and takes you through the test of time and you come
Okay.
out of it,
And
then
see,
you,
that's why I have to give you pushback again. And the reason why I say this is because I've made videos about marriage and
oh, okay.
about baby mamas, and then I'll have a whole bunch of women that may be in relationships, or they may be married, or they may be divorced, and they'll say like, hey, being a baby mama is no different than being married, because I was married and did this happen to me and this, that, and the third. And then I'll have women that say, hey, I was in a relationship and this happened and that happened. And I take the time to ask these women. And now at this point, it's been thousands and thousands of women. And I make sure, because I'm collecting all this information to write a book about something deeper. And I would say, out of the women that I speak to, at least 90% of them say that they saw some type of red flag, some type of thing that was a glaring situation in the man that they saw beforehand, before they even married the person, before they even managed to be connected to the person. But they chose to ignore it, maybe because they liked the guy, maybe because they were desperate, maybe because he had some money or paid bills, maybe because they had intercourse too quick and they were blinded by that, or whatever the case may be. So when you say things about like a man that would look at a woman that had cancer and say that he can't stand to look at her because she's sick and skinny, that speaks to a very large character issue. And I refuse to believe that that type of selfishness and personality hasn't revealed itself in some way, shape, form, or fashion, on some type of elemental level that the woman has not ignored. Because as you mentioned in my comments, I was married before my first husband. And if he was to have done anything like that to me, I couldn't dare say that I hadn't seen something in advance or prior before I even decided to marry him, because I did. And I think that is generally, like I said, 90% of the women that I've spoken with have seen something in advance. So it's not like these men just jump off the
But don't
porch
you
and they
think
think everything is great.
a lot of red flags sometimes it's when we're looking back and we're like, oh, that's what that was, compared to it being, oh, as it's happening, oh, I know this is definitely a red flag, but I'm gonna
No,
ignore it.
I think that women see it clearly. Women have very good discernment. Women have a very good intuition. They see it then at the time. They choose to ignore it, which is and I think a lot of it is rooted in is that the majority of people are having intercourse before they're getting married while they're dating. So when a woman does that, her senses are already dulled. Now she's already invested in this man with her body, and that is regardless of what women like to will acknowledge that is an investment, and women tend to put on rose-colored glasses when those things come in. A lot of different things, but absolutely, like I said, the majority of the women would say that they saw it or they had a weird feeling beforehand previously. Even in my own experience, I definitely knew beforehand before that there wasn't a decision that I was meant was should have made. But I was raised extremely religious. I was extremely sheltered. I was 25. I was a virgin, and frankly, I was just trying to hurry up and get married so that I could do it in the bounds of marriage, which is what I was raised. To put precedence on, and also I didn't want to sin, against God and all of that. So that's what I chose to do. But I made the mistake of not waiting for the right person or partner, just jumping out the door and just be like, oh man, I'm old now, I got to hurry up and get it in. So absolutely, these women have seen it beforehand. Now I'm not saying it isn't, some women that may have been flabbergasted or you know just like, wow, I don't know, I didn't know. But no, the majority of women saw something in advance and ignored it. And I think if more women would be honest with themselves about that, they could make better decisions in the future moving forward. Because there are a lot of women that are um, in situations that Stevie Wonder could see, and they see it too. You know. So, and it's just like women here in the comments, they're definitely, saying that they saw it as well. And I think that that's a hard truth that women don't want to admit, because this is a tough pill to swallow. It was a tough pill for me to swallow as well, because it's not a pill that I've had to swallow myself. It is, but it's just the truth. Like, we don't give each other enough credit. Women are very intelligent. Women are very smart. Women are very intuitive. Women have very high discernment. Women know when something ain't right, when something don't feels right, way before a man ever even thinks about something not being right. A woman's like, oh, you know what? I don't know about that. I don't know about that person. I don't know this. I don't know if I want to go here right now. It just don't feel right. When he said that to me or he did this, it just didn't feel right. But for some reason, a lot of women ignore it. And it's for a whole host of reasons. Like I said, it could be intercourse too soon. It could be intercourse, period. It could be desperation. It could be bills. It could be, oh, I feel like my kids don't got a dad and this man is willing to, be there. It's a whole host of things that could cause it. But definitely. So ain't there's no way I would ever believe that a man that would look at his sickly girl or wife and say that, oh, she's skinny, is making him sick, that he hasn't shown selfishness and ignorance in their relationship before. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What
That's
I
reasonable to believe that.
Okay, what I would say a difference between something doesn't feel right and concrete proof. Oh, hello.
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here. I
because
just
it went
muted up
silent.
so you can speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you can go ahead. Yeah, it's two different things, right? One, I used to listen to this apologist, Christian apologist, Ravi Zacharias. I used to follow his apologies, just speeches and a lot of all his sermons and stuff. And he was he was a man who was loved. Like, even if you go back to YouTube and watch his videos and how he explains Christianity to like atheists and people who want evidence of Christ and God and all those things, very brilliant man. And to the extent that when a lady came up and said, oh, he tried to do this to me, everybody attacked the lady more than what we're even doing for Jay-Z right now. Like, because this is Ravi Zacharias. He's like an angel in a human's body. And it took, I'm being sarcastic, by the way, it took him, he got cancer. People were like, wow, God gave him cancer. He's such a good man. After he died and his phone was unlocked, that's when the whole world, including his family, his kids, his wife, because he was an elderly man, shocked. Like, it was to the extent his wife and kids did not want to believe it. They had to like hack into whoever he sent those messages to. There was prostitution, there was he was messing with people's wives and threatening them if she tries to leave him, and it was all kinds of crazy. And I remember the Christian community being shocked, and I remember somebody said, God was trying to teach us something. That's why I'm saying this thing is general, even outside of men. This is a general lesson I've learned. God was trying to teach us something, that we shouldn't focus on the man, but we should focus on God. Regardless of if you have 24-hour surveillance on whoever it is that whoever is with, male, female, brother, sister, whatever. Only God knows the inner, deepest secret of the person. And the way I believed, I know this is a more far away because I don't know Ravi Zacharias personally, but that's what I learned from that situation was, I'm going to trust God to give me the spirit of discernment in everything that I do. And it's only God that I'm going to trust 100% every step of the way. Even if I've been with this person 20, 50 years, it's God that and I keep mentioning God because it's you triggered. On any other platform, I'm not going to even mention this God stuff. It is God who ultimately can control everything. The same God that told Moses, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. A couple of paragraphs down, it says, and God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. And I'm like, oh, so you can decide to make, Pharaoh could have decided to let the people go, but God hardened his heart. Like, what the heck? Like, do you want him to let the people go or not? And I realized, wow, like, at the end of the day, I'm not saying people are not responsible for their own actions or Pharaoh wasn't of himself or whatever. It's just what I learned from that segment. I was like, at the end of the day, God is in control of everything. No matter how smart I think I am to know whoever it is, I'm not going to put my 100% trust in human beings, because human beings, they're human beings. They have weaknesses. A human being can tell me he's going to buy me a car tomorrow and he can even die. They have and God can take their life away, or they have their own weaknesses. I'm not excusing cheating.
I get
I'm
what
not
you're
excusing
saying.
cheating or whatever.
I mean, I
But
get what you're saying, but I still don't feel like that really has anything to do with like our conversation, because
no, when
that's
I mentioned the
fine.
part about,
But just like I said, like you can feel that way, but like I said, just breaking down people that just said something positive on the strength of that is it doesn't make sense. It's still like just an illogical thing to do. Like I said,
I
it's weird.
I I did that because I did not truly believe what they were saying. That's just, if you would have,
Yes, and that
I'm gonna
doesn't come
repeat
from
this.
a good place, is
If
what I'm saying.
if
It
you would
doesn't.
have like done a video, hey, I think, and you were right. You do say a lot of stuff that maybe someone perceive as negative. I want to bring a more positive light. You do know it's literally impossible for every man on earth to be bad. I mean, whatever. I do want us to take into consideration that regardless of what we say on this, or what I say on this channel as triggered, I'm speaking as you here. It is possible to have healthy relationships. There are women out there having wealthy. I couldn't have grabbed anything from that, the beginning part of what you said. I couldn't have, oh, well, you're lying, everybody is miserable. Like, it wouldn't have even made sense.
It
That's why
didn't
I
make
didn't
sense
talk
then.
about
It
that
didn't make
part.
sense then though, because you don't know
No, but
any of
the
those men.
comments, I was
You
like,
know
man, these
none of
men
them.
can say all that and they
You
will
know
still be
none of
like,
these men. You have no idea what type of men
exactly.
some of these
Neither
men
do
are.
you. Both of us, we can't speak
No,
on them
okay,
and
no,
say
but
what they're saying
what we
is
can
true
do,
or
no, we
not.
don't know them, but what we can do is if they're speaking positivity, even if you don't know what they're doing, you could just say, wow, those are nice things that they said. I don't know if they're living that way, but I don't know what's going on. But that's a nice thing that was said. Instead of going to attack the men and start talking about how bad men are underneath the post where men have done nothing wrong. And I really don't even, it's making me my skin crawl to even feel like I'm placing myself in defense of men because that's not what I want to do. But what I'm saying is that is weird behavior. It's strange because what would make you do that? What would
What
make
would
you
make
do
me
that?
do
What
that?
would make
What
you
would
see
make me
something?
do that
What
if
would
I
make you
is
see
let
something
me let me
positive
okay,
and then
let
want
me
to just
explain.
start attacking it? That's
Okay.
not normal. That's not
Okay, so
normal.
let me explain. I have seen in real time men do that, and behind the
Those
scenes,
aren't
that
those
wasn't what.
men though.
But
Those aren't
so
those men.
hold on, triggered. Couldn't that trigger me in your? Couldn't that something I've seen before and it wasn't true, and I saw it, and I'm like, hold
Sure,
on a
and
minute,
that's
I've
exactly
seen
why I
something
said
like
you're not
before.
healed. That exactly, and that's
So
exactly
it's
why I said
possible.
you're not
Triggered,
healed. You're
triggered.
not
You don't
healed.
know
You
them, and
need
I
some.
don't
You
know
need some
them.
help. That's
Just
what I'm
like what you
saying. That's what
think
I
they
always
might be
said.
saying the truth, I think, hey, I don't know the whole story. And there's nothing, that is my take on what you posted. You can post anything you want on your channel, triggered, like, and we can comment
But that's
what
what I'm
we think
saying
of
though.
it. There's
That
nothing wrong with that.
You can comment whatever you want, but like I just said, is that you have to understand in order to fix what's going on with you, that those
There's nothing
reactions,
to
those
fix.
are unhealthy reactions, and that's
So
something you want to
you're
talk to a
triggered.
therapist about. That's
Triggered.
something you
You're
want to talk to a
posting
therapist about, like
comments
honestly.
about people you don't know to support something you said. And I'm
I
like,
didn't use that to support anything I said. What I said was is that I put the comments in there because there are so many men that have so much negativity to say that women say there are no men that ever say anything positive about women at all. No men say anything positive. No black men say anything positive. They don't do any of that at all. There's none of that. I saw one. I saw, wow. I said the majority of these men are black. I went to some of the black men's profiles. I clicked on their profiles. I said, wow, they're with black women. I said, well, this would be a perfect opportunity for black women to see that not all black men are out there hating them and not all men are out there hating women because I also included there were Hispanic men in there and white men in there. That there are not all men out there are not on social media talking about how much they hate the woman that they are with. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to prove that those men are good men. I don't know them. All I was trying to do is show that there are men out there that speak positively about who they're with. Are they good men behind the scenes? I don't know. You don't know. We will never know because we don't live in these people's homes. So what I'm saying is you responding and you saying that you were triggered and you felt like, oh wow, she's trying to prove that men are good. Let me go ahead and prove that they're
oh,
not.
come on.
That is
Stop
rooted in
exaggerating.
some
That's
type
not.
of
I didn't come there because I thought you're saying men are good. Like so it's literally impossible for even one man to be in a. No, come on, trigger. It's what. It's not even logical for me to say. Oh, it's literally impossible. Zero men out there have done good things for and oh, let me say this. Most of the time when I hear men online saying bad things about women, it's not necessarily about their wives. It's just about women in general. They don't personalize it. They almost sound like they don't have any women in their lives. The men that I've seen on the internet wise and the red pill and whoever it is, I hardly actually hear them talking about, oh, I wasn't in a relate. No, it's just all your 304s, all these women. It sounds like they don't even interact with women. So I wasn't looking at that like oh, men are always saying something bad and about women, and today they're saying something good. I Those are women they live with, and for that I can't prove. I can only talk of the ones they talk about, like we, all of us, like women, or when you're like today's women or modern women or whatever that term that they use for us. But yeah, I was just, well, I thought then I thought you were using them as evidence for, hey, see, or maybe I need to go back and watch that video because it was like, hey, see, there are men out there treating their wives well and in healthy relations. And I'm like, how the heck is these comments supposed to be evidence of that? It's different if you're hypothetically saying, oh, of course there are probably men out there treating women well. Yeah, it's logical. It's impossible for all men to be bad. So that I understand. But I thought you were using those comments as a backing for proof. That was when I was like, that's
I mean,
not
I guess
proof.
I could use it as a backing for proof that there are men that will comment things that, show that they apparently hold their women in high esteem, even though I don't know how they treat them behind the scenes. It
That I
wasn't meant
agree
to be.
with.
It wasn't meant to be taken so seriously. All it was is, and I stated it multiple times, it was a video meant to focus on something positive, because someone that wants you to be in a constant negative state, that is not healthy to always speak on the worst of the worst and doom and gloom. And as I said, I'm not living that life. I am married to a man that I have been married to for 15 years, and I don't undergo any type of struggle of any type of abuse, any type of infidelity, any type of getting my head knocked between a washer and dryer. My husband pays all the bills. And I feel like for me to constantly talk about, sis, they all bad. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. While I go in my real life and get laid up on, and my husband rubs my feet and my head and my back, I feel like I would be a hypocrite never to speak on anything positive. And regardless of what you say about like not knowing and secret sins and all of this, I will say this because we talked about God a lot. God Himself sent my husband to me. And when God gives you a gift, there is no pain with it. And I know that. And I know Him completely. And He is a good man, period. Hands down. There is no debate. I would stake my life upon it. So all I'm saying is, knowing that I have that in my life, sometimes I feel I struggle with what to put on my page, because it's like, am I turning into a grifter? Because why am I saying this stuff all the time and never saying anything positive when I know that's not my reality? I know what women like to hear, and I know that women want to be, on guard on these dudes out here, because and I know how that is, because after I was divorced the first time and I was looking for someone, all of these tips and tricks on how to vet men and find out men that are no good and all of these things, all of the things that I tell women to do was definitely in my arsenal. I try to use advice for women and to give women advice that I wish that I had when I was younger before I got married the first time, but also advice that I used for myself when I was looking for a partner after that. So as I said, that is my only motivation. And I'm still not going to always go and talk about, the open, this and that and this and that. But I did think that it was important when I saw a nice thread, a kind thread, no, I didn't do a background check on these men. No, I did not get their IP addresses and, bug their cams inside their home or their blink cameras to see how they're really living. But I'm just saying it was just nice to see men speak highly about their women. And to pick it apart is weird. And that's
No,
it.
no,
It's
no, wait, wait,
strange.
wait, wait. If you're explaining it like that now for me, because again, I thought you were using it as evidence. And I kept repeating that if the comment section thing that you posted had never come, and you were just been like what you just said, hey guys, today I want to be on a more positive, because like, and you said that in the video, and I appreciated your honesty. Like, at the end of the day, I'm married, and whatever, just so it doesn't seem like, okay, she got a man and she coming into, because I've seen that on other people's posts where it's like, oh, all these women talking about decentering and stuff, they all married and they'll come out here, and I've seen certain posts like that. So when I think it was just a couple of days and later that you also said yours, I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like, she's coming out to let us know and all of that. And for the very first part of the video, I had no, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And that's, it's nice that you were, I don't know how to explain it. You thought of that, because maybe there's a woman out there who is on that doom and gloom, and she would like to get married. You even mentioned, even if you don't want to get married, even if you don't want to have kids, at least know that there is a possibility of the unicorns out there. Had no problem with that. It was, from what you're telling me now, I guess the misunderstanding of what I thought was you trying to use that to support the unicorn. I'm using the word unicorn for lack of a better word, like, oh, the few good whatever men or whatever. So that's when I was like, but hey, Triggered, this isn't really, because usually on your other post, when you say something and you post a video, it's used, if correct me if I'm wrong, it's somehow in line with or evidence, or whether it be Jay-Z or Jamie Foxx, or so I was on that mentality. I was like, wait, why, how come today Triggered is using comments as evidence? And
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You because I do that. That I use video proof and things like that to back up my point.
yeah,
I
and
use
things we
video
all
proof
know.
and articles and things like that
Yeah.
because I feel like, I liked my channel to be something more fact based and not just my opinion because everybody has an opinion about everything. But I feel like if you give actual facts to back up what you're trying to say, it's just better. That way people know that there's actually some type of, a fact-based reason or logic behind why you're saying the things that you're saying. But the difference between my other videos, like if I'm talking about, stats when it comes to DV or SA or things that happen to black women or any of those things, I can't, those are things that I can actually quantify. I can't quantify how many good men there are. I can't quantify if the men that I see out here in the world are good men or not, or bad men or not. I don't know. Nobody knows unless you're actually in that relationship. So the only thing I wanted to do strictly was not to prove with these comments that these men were necessarily fantastic men because I don't know. But they were just to show that there are men out there regardless on what's going on. They did speak highly of their wives and their girlfriends. They did. That is something that cannot be denied. And they had no reason to do it. There was no motivation. They weren't being paid. It was on a post with nothing but other dudes. So there wasn't anything in it for them. They just said whatever it was that they were feeling. Now, whether they treat their girls good or there was other women that said, oh, they just want their wife appliances and all this other stuff, I don't know. I have no idea if that's the type of time that they were on. All I was trying to say is that there are men that speak positively about their women. It's not all negativity and hatred. And I did click on a few of the guys, but there was so many comments. I like literally hundreds, and I only took a few out of there because I didn't feel like just keeping on reading. Because I was like, how many should I read? And I just did. I just stopped because I was like, this was already too many. So I did click on a few of the guys' pictures, black guys specifically, and the ones that did have pictures of their families on there, they were black women. And the ones that I clicked on were men that said that they were married. And they were black women there. So that's all I was trying to say is that because some women say that, oh, all black men hate us. They hate us. They
It's
don't love
literally
us.
impossible.
They
It's
always
literally
saying this
impossible.
and that. So I just wanted some black women to know, like, there are some black men that care. Can I quantify that with a number? No. Can I say that those men necessarily are? No. But it was just something to show something positive out of the sea of negativity. And for the life of me, I don't understand why positivity in regards to men on any, and how they treat women, how that would be something that people wanted to debunk. It's like, well, do you want to debunk it? Then do you want me just to say that, hey, every last dude out here is no good? Yeah, he don't like you. Yeah, he gonna knock your head in. Yes, he's gonna SA you. Every man in this world is bad except the one that I got. So deal with it and be sad. Like, would that be a better message to put out? I don't know. Cause that's what I wonder, like, is that what people really want to hear? And then I just say, hey, every man is bad, all of them. And I just talk about that all day. And then know that at the end of the day, when I get offline, I'm being loved on, but I'm just going to tell everybody else, all these other dudes is bad. Like, I just feel icky about that. And I know that there are content creators that are very big that have no problem lying to black women and saying things that are not true to get some money, or telling women that they can get this and get that and get this. They can go find $1 million man, and all you got to do is get your hair weave and go to the gym. And
You're
you're going to
funny.
see that white man at the bar, and he's going to be like, you know what? I love black women, and I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to pay all your bills, and you're going to be a princess, fairy princess. And there's women out here spending thousands of dollars to be taught by women that are lying. But I just cannot do that. I cannot do that. So I'm not trying to grift anybody. I would love to be a super popular YouTuber that's making so much money that I can buy a quadrillion-dollar house and retire my husband so that he can just stay home because he works so very hard. But I refuse to do that. I refuse to do it. So that's all I can say.
Me-
That's all I can say. I'm
Well,
always
well,
gonna do what I'm doing. I'm gonna always keep balance on the channel. It's gonna be the regular stuff that a lot of ladies want to hear, but it's always gonna be something on the positive side that I interject every now and again. Or I'm a fake. I'm a phony if I don't, because it's not the life that I'm living.
right. As you were talking, I remembered a story, a situation that really, let me say, um, okay, one is a family member and one is a random older man, let me white man that I met. I remember I met this older. I don't know if this is even related to what we were saying, but it's part of men relationship stuff. And his wife was older than him, and I think it had gone to a part where he's also an older man, so her libido and stuff was not what it used to be, and then he would still speak very well of his wife and how he loved his wife. And I was at that time friends with him for like 2 years, and I was like, God, if I ever got a chance to get a husband, I wanted to be like this man. This man never argues. Even if you have a difference of opinion, he has a way of, oh, really? That's interesting. Okay, well, this is what I think. Almost perfect guy. Out of being friends with him, because I was his friend and not his wife, I found out he was doing stuff that his wife doesn't know. This is someone who started to trust really well, to the extent that I would want someone like him. And a lot of times when these things happen to me, I ask God, why are you showing me this? Or why did you let me meet this person? And why is this happening? And his answer was to me personally. This is not you, Trigger. This is my personal story I'm sharing. He told me, as good as this guy was to your judgment or your perception, and you would have never thought he would do that to his wife until he himself told you, at the end of the day, he's a human being. He's a human being. Don't put too much pressure on a human being to be perfect, or expect that the human being is never going to step on your foot or do something wrong. And that at the end of the day, everything comes back to me, God. Similar with what happened with my family that I thought would always have my back. So now, even you spoke of the like, if God, but even in the Bible, sometimes God can bring somebody to somebody, whether it's King David or whatever, and still King David will go kill Uriah at the battlefield and take his wife. Even the people in the Bible that we are learning from, they were not perfect. They cheated. They did a lot of stuff, but they're the founding fathers of the
I
Bible that
definitely
we're
didn't
supposed
mention
to learn
anything
from.
about perfection in men. Definitely, I wasn't saying that any human being is perfect or men are perfect or anything like that. All I was just trying to
Oh,
say is,
I didn't say you were
yeah,
triggered. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. This is just my own side. So what makes me have that whole, I'm never 100%. They're human. Like, I'm not excusing sin. I'm not excusing cheating. At the end of the day, I'm no longer going to 100% vouch for another human being anymore. I that is the point that I have come to, and not because I think you're bad, or in the back of my mind I'm like, yeah, Trigger is nice to me at work, but she probably doing something I don't know. Not in that angle, but Trigger is a human being, and even if I find out something I don't expect to find out about her, I shouldn't be disappointed in her or demonize her. I no longer get that shocked, oh, you betrayed me thing from people when they switch up on me.
I don't know,
Because
because that's what you were doing to the men underneath the post of the video. You were
which man?
the all of the comments of the men. You were doing exactly what you're talking about. Like that's exactly what you were doing.
Wait, what are
I
you
don't
talking
know.
about? I was talking to a
I
man.
just yes, and I just don't understand the
I didn't know
interjection
there was a
of
man there.
no, I'm talking about the men in the comments of what you were saying about the comments that the men left. That's exactly what you were doing. And I don't understand the interjection of God in here and the Bible, because that this absolutely has nothing to do with anything that we're talking
Everything that
about.
happens in the world has to do with God,
This
whether
what
you
you're
realize it or not.
what okay, it the only thing that has to do with God is what we're talking about is that the feelings that you're having, you really need to talk to God about it. Like if you don't feel like comfortable talking to a therapist about it,
Oh,
you
wait. So you
definitely need to
think I
talk to
did
God
not
about it for
experience
sure.
that
Oh, and I did want to say this for the people that are listening. There were plenty of women underneath the comments of that video that were happy about the positivity, that said they wanted to see some more. There were several black women that said they were getting married and to their soulmates, and that this was they were talking about how well they were being treated, and that this just, touched their heart because it reminded them of their partners and future husbands. And also one lady said that she'd been married for 19 years or something like that down there or something. So in the comments, so there were women that were definitely on board with this, but I just want to say that. But yes, so what I'm
So
saying
you,
is that all the
wait,
stuff that you're saying
even the
about God and not
wait. Even
and
the
not trusting
story
people.
I
Let me
just
let me
told
finish.
about the
What
older
what
man.
what you're saying about you using an experience about a man that you knew that had bad
Right.
behavior
He
to
was treating
represent.
his wife well. I don't know why
Okay,
you
just a
think when
second.
we talk
Just
about
a
men, it
second.
means they're
Just a
not treating
second.
their.
Just a second. What you said about a man using an alone experience of yourself, about experience that you had with a man that you thought was okay and that you realized was doing some things behind his wife's back, is not a good enough indicator for you to then attack anything that you see that's positive, or things that some men may be commenting as far as being negative. That's all I'm saying. All of it is rooted in being unhealed. And I don't know how many times I have to say that, but it's the truth. And if you don't want to see a therapist, as I said, you've talked about God a lot here. You definitely need to talk to God about this because it is unhealthy. Period. And you know what you said about God and people are not perfect, and David and Bathsheba, I guess that's what you're trying to get to, or whatever. All of that stuff doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. It really doesn't. And I honestly feel like at this point, the conversation has probably just hit its peak and culmination, because we're not getting anywhere. I think we're just going back and forth about a point that we probably already clarified, because you've already acknowledged that the you thinking that is rooted in you wanting to disprove the guys, and that's fine if you want to disprove them. I don't know them, but what at what point do we just agree to disagree? Because like I said, I think that you should talk to God about all of these things. I do deeply pray to him about it and ask him to take whatever is on you off. That's what I think. Guardian Angel, did you said you wanted to ask her a question? I think that's what you said. If so, you can. I'm gonna unmute her too so she can respond to you.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, firstly, I wanted to say hi. I know we spoke by emails before you're triggered, and so I just wanted to show my appreciation and support again for your work. I really do think that it's a great work that you're doing, because I'm trying to do
Oh,
a similar thing
yeah.
by bringing these things up. Um, and hi, Sarki. I was listening to the stream and I'm getting your point. I just wanted to actually ask a question because I feel like maybe you may be missing a few of the points that your trigger is making, and I'm only saying, I'm not saying this because I'm like against you or I have a problem with you or anything. It's just I'm trying to understand your perspective a little bit better. Um, what exactly is so? Okay, let me start with this question. Do you kind of have any hope for in the future to be in a healthy, happy, positive relationship with a man? Maybe we can start there.
Of course, anything in this world is possible. Yes,
That is what you would want for yourself.
if it's possible. Yes.
Because, okay, well, if that's the case, then that's good. But then, wouldn't it be kind of a bit better to kind for a person like what your trigger is doing to kind of show some things that can kind of maybe show that it is possible that there are men out there that can kind of that do show appreciation for women and say good things about the women that they are. So I'm just trying to understand that, like why you would see a problem with that, because it seems
Oh,
like
oh,
you
oh. What triggered? I think she already explained. I think it was two different thoughts. Triggered. Um, first on her YouTube, she was talking about like what you just said, that there are good men out there, and she also talked about her personal life, and then she said we shouldn't all have the mentality that zero good men out there. And I think she made a physical post of screenshots of men saying something like, "Oh, I knew she was the one when we did this and that." And even with this story of the man I just spoke about and his wife, the reason I no longer um, take maybe certain words in comment sections or even in real life of people saying, "Oh yeah, this is great. I love my wife. She's this and that," is because I have seen several, not just that man. I just used him because out of everybody, he was the one I genuinely believed was good, and he was nice to his wife, and he treated his wife well. It's just that behind the scenes he was not faithful. And so I'm not talking about everybody's getting beaten up and abused and hit up, but there are people who on the front, they are nice to their wives, they are good. The wives, they are in a happy marriage. In the background, he's doing something else. So when I saw that post by Triggered, I was like, oh, this reminds me of when you the other guys that I met, that it took me a while after knowing them to know that what they told me in the beginning about your relationship was not true. So then I posted that, hey, you can't really know if what these guys are saying is true, because at that time I thought Triggered was using is now she's explaining to me it was two different things. She's explaining to me she wasn't using those comments as proof of the few great guys, but she was talking about, yes, they are great guys, and oh, by the way, here's comments about black men and Hispanic men and whatever men also saying nice things about women. That was not the understanding that I got in the beginning. I thought she was saying, hey, see, there are good guys treating their wives well out there, and see, this is the evidence because of the past videos I had seen of Triggered, where when she does talk about something, she says, hey, this is the evidence. And we link the video to what she said, and that's our evidence that, oh, this is what happened, and Triggered is saying it. So the reason why, I didn't know Triggered had muted me when I was saying this. The reason why I commented under that post of Triggered with the comment section was I have seen stuff like that before. I've even seen guys on Facebook post, oh, my wife and Mother's Day or whatever it is. Sometimes I even know some of the wives. Sometimes I know the guys themselves. I speak to them behind the scenes. And what they put, basically, what I was saying was sometimes people are putting up a show on social media for whatever reason they may deem for it to make sense to them as why they are doing it. So be careful when using this as your evidence. I think that was it. But now she's telling me it was two different things. She was showing black men showing black women love, and also talking about, hey, don't forget that not all guys are bad. I didn't get that those are two different things. At least
Yeah.
I hope that's what
Okay. Well, that makes a bit. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense because in reality, if because it was beginning to sound like and I'm not trying to say this in a mean way, but it was beginning to sound like it was just a matter of you having serious trust issues, like severe ones, to the point where even when someone, a man in this case, would do something or say something that is good, your first reaction to that would be to kind of question if that's genuine or this and that, because your past
Guardian
experiences have
Angel.
shown that.
Guardian, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I had no idea that you were a man. I wanted you to go ahead and get your question out there, but I just feel like it's this is really a conversation for women because you are a
Yes.
man and you will want to, of course, kind of like prove the point of men and men being,
No, no, no,
they're
not
the,
at all. That was not my intention.
I
Yeah,
understand. I just still I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're saying. I just
no
don't
problem.
think that
Yeah, I'll go
right
ahead.
now, like
No, 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 no
for
problem.
me.
I really, yes, I'm sorry. I really did not mean to invade the space or anything. It was really just a genuine question because I was, yeah, but I'm a
Yeah,
viewer of
I got
but
you. But I
all
appreciate
right,
you
I'll
for
clock out
coming
then.
up. No
All right, see
problem.
you
But I
then.
appreciate you for coming up.
All right, thanks. Bye
Uh
then.
huh. No problem. All right.
Triggered. What do you want me to do? Are we? I don't know. Or do you want me to
Cartier,
answer
yeah.
someone else's?
No, we
What?
don't gotta answer anything. That it was really just for me and you. I just they said they wanted to ask you a question below. I actually thought it was a woman. If I
Oh.
thought it was if it wasn't if I knew that it wasn't a woman, I wouldn't have added them. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I
I
don't
don't
say
mind.
them or
He
anything, but
sounded polite too, so
no,
I
no,
don't
he
mind.
was cool. He was cool. He wasn't bad
Yeah.
at all. It's just that I just thought that it was a woman. If I had known that it wasn't a woman, I wouldn't have put him up here because that's not what this is. It's just a debate for you and I. But I think that this
Oh,
is probably like our conversation has kind of reached its peak or whatever.
okay.
So it's like we've been at it for now an hour and 40 minutes. So I think that I
Oh,
get
and
your
I
perspective.
didn't mean to debate. I didn't know this was a debate. I just thought you wanted me to come and verbalize what I meant. I didn't know
I
this
mean,
was
it
a
is
debate.
probably not a debate. I probably just kind of, so people know that it would be two people having a discussion. And since
Oh,
I
okay.
just put it on there, but I don't think that this is a debate. Like if it was like a debate, I debated in school and in college and stuff, so it would be something different. So that's just kind of the verbiage I use. But no, I just think that we were having a discussion. But
Okay.
I think that right now I understand your perspective where you're coming from, even though I disagree. I do think that you do need to talk to God about this and get some healing. But I
Okay.
do
Okay.
understand where you're coming from, though, and hopefully you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
That video was definitely not meant to use those men as a point to prove that those men are good guys because I don't know them. I have no idea who those guys are. I don't know
I
them
don't
from a
know
can
them
of paint.
either,
They're just
honestly.
guys that I just randomly screenshot online. So I don't know if they're good or not. So anywho, I
And I
think
wanted to say this before you go.
okay.
Don't let our comments make you feel, even internally, even if you won't show it on the outside, internally resistant to want to do. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever comment, whoever you argue with, we need these conversations. And I was really happy when I saw your content, even though you're a smaller content creator. I like the way you the other content, I like the way you verbalize, you express yourself. And even if you do the opposite of what whoever is there is used to hearing, it's good for, because in order for, I think, is it diamond to form, like, you need a lot of pressure. We need these, we need the both the positive and the negative. And it shouldn't be like, oh, so can I post this, or oh, so y'all gonna get offended. It doesn't matter if we get offended. It's all part of the growth, and it's all part of what is gonna make all of us better people. So I was never like, oh, don't ever like. And even if I did, who, like, is your channel, and that's your safe space, and that's where, at the end of the day, you can come into your community and express yourself. So regardless of whatever happens in the future, and I will come back, but don't let it feel like it's a personal attack on your personality, or like earlier, like underestimating your intelligence or whatever. It's not.
Okay.
We don't. I don't know you. You don't know. It's not that serious. It's
Okay, yeah,
just
I got you. I
yeah.
definitely will. I definitely think about that moving forward. Now that we actually had a conversation, and I felt like at anything that's the understanding that we would get at least each other's perspective and know where we're coming from. So I do
Mhm.
appreciate you coming up here and giving your perspective and stuff like that, and that way we could get our sides heard and everything like that. I really do appreciate you for coming up.
Thank you. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, I'm a religious nut," but I genuinely everything that
I don't think you're a religious nut at all.
everything that happens to me, I, first of all, I believe I'm here for a purpose, and everything that happens to me is eventually linked to the overall purpose for which I'm here. So that's why everything I say, I'm like, why am I doing? I know some people. I know I'm in a
I believe in
country.
God too. So I believe in
Yeah.
God too, and I believe in God and Christ. So that is something that I know of, and I understand what you were saying that a lot of people don't. So
Yeah, I know
sometimes
they're gonna make fun of me.
you
I
gotta
know.
figure out when you're talking, like if you want to talk about that, because some people get offended with you saying that. But I
Right.
never shied away from letting people know that I do believe in God and Christ. Now
That's another
certain
thing I liked
times
about you.
I may not talk about it as much because that means people want to go on the attack and debate
Right.
and
Like,
be
I don't believe in God,
disrespectful.
so that's stupid.
And
I
that
know.
sometimes I can get funny about that because I don't want people talking funny about my belief system, just
Right.
like people don't want people talking funny about theirs. So sometimes I protect that and don't go too deep into it around people that don't care. But
Right. Right.
I don't want to leave you hanging out there like I'm not on the same type of time you are as far as a belief in God and Christ and stuff like that, because I am. So I
Okay.
just want to
Thank
put
you.
that out there. But yeah, anyway,
Right.
you
Thank
guys,
you.
if you're a black woman and you're listening to this, I just want y'all to know that I love you. You're amazing. You're special. You're valuable. And at the end of the day, the only thing I would like to do is create a safe space for Black women that, because we're different. We're not a monolith. We're not always going to agree on everything. And just like Sarky and I, we did not agree, but we still were able to have a simple conversation and come to an agreement with each other and understand each other's perspective. And that's the only thing I hope for us as, the collective of Black women, that we can, get along, love each other, love on each other, and respect each other's differences and differences of opinion, and still at the end of the day still have love for one another, and care for one another. Oh, and hey Kim, how you doing? In the comments, hey Kim, how you doing? But yeah, so that's it, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live down. Once again, thank you so much for coming, Sarky and
Okay. Thank
Guardian
you so much for
Angel.
having me,
Oh,
and
no
I
problem, no problem.
apologize again for any personal hits you might have felt.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And
All
Guardian
right.
Angel, like if you're still in the chat, it's no problem. It's no problem. But I just sometimes, I hold space for men to talk, and then sometimes I just don't feel like it's appropriate, because at the end of the day, this is really a space that I want to keep, for Black women specifically. Now, sometimes, I let men come up and say their piece and stuff like that if it fits, but then sometimes I would say the majority of the time I don't, but sometimes I do. But I just didn't think today was the time. But I definitely don't have any problem with you at all, sir. All right, I see y'all. Bye bye. Love
All right.
y'all.
Good night. Bye.